listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Is it working, Sal?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is up, everyone? Paul Apostolakis, Salvatore Kuzmano, Brad Weisgerber. We are Inside Real Estate. Today's show is super special, in my opinion. We've got a really special guest, Kali Sweeney. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Good, man. Kali started a program, a youth program in Detroit. So we're going to get into that. We've got Brian View here. How are you, sir?
Doing well.
You've been on the show before.
Yes.
I don't know why we invited you back.
I don't either. You guys have the best. You guys have the best names in finance.
You think
so?
so?
I can't pronounce any of them, but they
Paul,
sound cool.
Paul, I guess you're right.
It is funny.
A lot of consonants and vowels, right? So Kali is a much cooler name than Paul Apostolakis, man.
100%.
So today's show is a little bit different. I mean, obviously we're a real estate show, and we talk about business a lot. And Kali, actually, I don't want to spend a lot of time on your story because everybody kind of knows. I mean, he's been on CNN. He's been nominated for a lot of different things. You've had a lot of interviews already, but just real quick, like I want the audience to have like the abridged version of like your story real quick. I know it's a long one, but just as quick as you can get through it.
Quick as I can get through it. I quit my job one day and decided to do something that I really thought that my heart was in.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't feel like just working for a paycheck. I quit and I said I want to start helping the people in the community. I want to start doing something that I wish somebody would have did for me.
Yeah.
I started a youth program, and 13 years later, here we are.
It's been 13 years, man.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. So just so everyone understands, this gym program, it's a boxing gym, but really it's way more than boxing, man.
Oh yeah. We have reading intervention, math intervention, computer classes, computer coding classes.
Yeah, man.
You know, a lot of different stuff going on, a lot of mentorship things and enrichment programming going on. So
yeah, your whole thing is books before boxing, right?
that's the motto: books before boxing.
Right. So that I mean, and you know, it's in Detroit. You saw a need growing up because I mean, there's a cool story about you. Like in 11th grade, you got like a B, and you were like, man, I didn't even do anything for this B. Like, why did I get a B?
Yeah,
right?
I asked the teacher. I said, "Man, like, is this right?" He's like, "Yeah, it's right." I said, "It
like,
can't be right." And he was like, "Well, all the other teachers must be wrong too." So I went to the other teacher, and she's like, "Yeah, you got a B." I was like, "I don't even know you, lady.
Yeah.
I never even did a paper in your class."
They were just pushing you through the
yeah,
system.
they were pushing
right?
me through that. At that point, they just wanted to get rid of me.
Yeah, man. That's kind of how the school system. So yeah, it's a wild situation. A lot of, you know, kids at that age are looking for direction. You know what I mean? I believe this wholeheartedly.
It's not even kids though. It's our age. I mean, you're looking for direction.
Everyone
needs a
direction,
coach.
Yeah. So,
Everybody.
but I think about it. No matter how good of a parent I am, it also comes down to the peer group that my kids are around, right? And who are they around? Who are influencing them, right? And growing up, I mean, your story is you didn't really have a lot of great influences, right?
No, I came from a real rough background. I was in a real rough neighborhood, and you know, they were welcoming me in every chance they got, man. You know, you can come out here and hang out with us, and you know,
Be one of us, right?
yeah. And so I took them up on the offer one day, and it was the worst mistake I ever made in my life. It took me 20 years to recover from it. And I see a lot of kids going through the same thing that I was going through. You know what I mean? You got a lot of guys who surrounded by peer pressure, bad influences, and you know, and once they take that step, sometimes you don't make it back. You end up in a federal penitentiary or something like that, rotting away for 150 years, or you either go to that county morgue over there.
Yeah.
And you know, you ain't no coming back from that at all.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got shot at.
I got shot.
You got shot.
I got shot twice. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Been shot at multiple times, and you know, it was just a horrible experience growing up. That's no kid should go through that. You know, they talk about PTSD and all that type of stuff. A lot of our kids are suffering from it too.
Yeah, bro. Here's the thing, because you were looking for that like crew. You were looking for like family. You were looking for like leadership, right?
Yeah. So for me, it was like I didn't have any positive role models around, and so you know, I really didn't have that family bond that everybody else had, because my mother and father gave me away when I was a kid, when I was like 6 weeks old. So you know, I was raised in a house full of people that I wasn't related to.
It's wild.
So I was trying to build a family, and I just, you know, the gangs were out there, and the gangs were talking about family. They were preaching family, but you know, at the end of the day, it's not really a family. It's just a lot of nonsense. You waste your life.
Yeah, you get sucked into the wrong thing. It's crazy too, because I mean, what years were these that you were growing up, like 11th grade, like in that what year?
Man, it was a long time until my older brother just came to me. He's like, "Man, you do know the rest of the world don't live like this, right? Are you aware of that, right?" And I was like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
I didn't know. And
You didn't know anything. Yeah.
No, he showed me a picture of all my friends. He's like, man, these guys are all dead or in jail, man. He just started pointing them out, naming them. He's like, look at these guys. Don't be the next guy on this picture that's dead or in jail.
Yeah.
So then I made a life change. I went back to school and I changed my life and never looked back.
Yeah, a lot of people hear about the resurgence of Detroit. Like, there's a lot of positive stuff, but people don't realize, like, if you go down the street that I grew up on, there was like 7 in Havana, right by the state fairgrounds. I mean, my house is gone. There's like one house on that street. You know what I mean? It's still like that. I mean, the neighborhoods haven't really gotten the benefit as much yet of what's going on in Detroit, and the city services are the ones that really are need to catch up. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a process. It didn't happen overnight. It's not going to fix itself overnight.
Right.
These problems took a long time to build, and it's going to take a long time to fix. So, I mean, a start anywhere is a good start. It's a start.
Yeah, man. And what I think, and Sal, I think we can, people in our industry, I mean, like, what we can assimilate to is the adversity. And, like, for you, man, it must have been like, okay, I'm going to do this, right?
Right.
Well, then how do I do it?
No, it wasn't how do I do it. It's just that, I've been, so when you come from the bottom and you don't have anything,
Yeah.
you're not scared of anything. You know what I mean? You've already been in the bottom. You've been to the bottom. You've been on your back. You've been on your knees. You've been down. So for me, everything is up. So if I make an attempt to do something and I fail, I keep going because I've seen worse.
Yeah.
Usually, I feel like the people who do best with the change are the ones who have nothing to lose, right?
Right.
It's like, hey,
What are you scared of?
right?
For me, it's like I'm already in the fight. What am I scared of?
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've already taken the blows. I've been hit. I've been hit a couple times. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna keep going.
That's wild, bro. I mean, a lot of people cannot actually relate with that because nobody's ever been shot at. Nobody's been living through that. But that probably made you who you are, really, if you think about it, right? All that was like necessary part of the process.
Yeah, a lot of guys ask me like, "Oh, if you could change anything, what would you change?" Nothing. Because if I changed anything, I wouldn't be who I am today. You know what I mean? So the strongest still been through the hottest fire.
Yeah.
The strongest still been through the hottest fire. It's just simple as that. You know what I mean? So I have a Rolodex that I can look back on. So if I face something today and it seems like it's tough, I look back at my Rolodex and say, okay, nah, it's not that tough. I've been through worse. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah, right. So Brian, I know you got involved. I know that when last time you were here, you brought this whole program up, and you're like, I feel really strongly about this. How did you get involved, Callie, in the whole thing?
I got lucky. I got lucky. We have at Flagstar, one of our board directors was connected with a current board member of the gym, and I had been looking for an opportunity to join a board, and my passion is kids and athletics and education, and I went down for a visit and knew nothing about what was going on down there, and I'd say I was 20 minutes into my visit, and I was like, all right, how do I sign up?
You were
like, well, no, you can't sign up. You got to go through an interview. They got to select
pick you.
I'm like, how do I get selected? So yeah, I mean, it was the energy, the passion. Once you walk in that place and see the smiles, right? I'm looking across and seeing Kali smile, but you see it on every kid's face in there, and it's just so energizing. And I'm taking my sales team next week. We're going to go down and do a visit. I'm looking forward to their, having those folks get energized and motivated, because we talk about the programs and how it helps kids, but there's things that you can connect from the gym and from the things that happen in the gym in business and in life.
For sure, man.
Looking forward to and having my team get to experience that.
That's pretty sweet.
I think it's easy to lose sight of something real when you sit in a cubicle or you're at a desk and you're like,
forget the reality
trying
of the
to
world.
get jacked up about talking to someone. You're like going through the motions, but then you see something real, right? Something that can inspire you and kind of pull that back. Same thing when things go bad, right? Like you said, it's like, all right, like this is tough, man. This guy might not close today. It's like, he's not gonna die, right? Like it's gonna be all right. Like we'll close tomorrow, and you'll still get your house. So it's kind of like you got to take a step back and realize, what's important.
We got to get out of our box sometimes and look at the perspective of the world sometimes, and doing things like that and is important. And I commend you for being part of it. So, what is your role? I'm just curious.
I'm on the board of directors, so we meet monthly and kind of help mentor and kind of guide the folks that run the gym. And I view my primary role as just building awareness and trying to raise money. So
that's awesome.
Whoever's listening and watching, go to my Facebook page. I got a little fundraiser going. Yeah. Feel free to jump on and donate.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I mean, go ahead. Who was saying something?
Do you guys have a waiting list of kids to get into the program right now?
Yeah, about 900.
Wow. 900. So it definitely, I mean, it wasn't always like that. How did you, when you first started out, how did you find kids that?
I don't think it probably was that hard.
I mean,
no, it wasn't hard at all. So I started out with 2 kids. I was working with those 2 kids, and then people saw the results. You know, they saw the change in school because I'm telling guys, like, you know, you're not going to, like, most likely you're not going to become a professional fighter. Mm-hmm. So what do you want to do in life?
Right.
And so, like they say, you can find out more about a person in an hour of play than a lifetime of questioning. So what I would do is use that hour of play to find out what it was really going on in their mind and what was really going on in their hearts and what did they really do? Where did they see themselves? Where, you know, what are your goals?
It opened them up.
Yeah, and so you got kids right now who, if you ask them right now, what do you want? What do you see yourself in 5 years? They don't have a plan. Mm-hmm. So I use that hour of play to talk to them about about life. And so what happened was, they started seeing a change in these kids, and so people were like, hey, I want to send my kid over there. And then next thing you know, I had like 70 kids. I'm like, wow, I'm dealing with 70 kids. I'm just one guy.
Yeah.
So then I started trying to enlist the parents, and the parents jumped on board. And when the parents jumped on board, it just started going crazy.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, you got one.
Now you got an organization.
Now you got one parent talking to another parent, talking to another parent with the kids. Now teachers are calling me.
Yeah, man.
So it was kind of cool.
I mean,
awesome.
It's so effective using a sport, like you said, like that's a great analogy. Like that opens the door to their mind, right? You have the opportunity to really get to know these kids, and you build trust and faith in you, and that is the way to lead people in any organization. You cannot lead people unless you earn their respect. You can't demand people's respect, right? You absolutely have to earn it.
Yeah,
right. Being real with them too, like, hey man, like maybe 1 out of 50,000 people have a shot of going somewhere with fighting, right?
Yeah, I always tell the guys, man, you know, education is plan A. That's it.
Yeah.
Education is plan A. I don't tell you about some plan B. That's too much thinking.
Yeah.
Education is plan A.
You got one thing.
Focus on that.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because, look, you are a boxing gym, and all that stuff's great, but I think that is just a tool to be used to get these kids in the right spot, right? So talk to me about the educational part. I mean, you guys do provide a lot of services on the education side.
So we have reading intervention classes where, you know, we work with different programs and stuff to help them with their reading because a lot of guys you could be an honor student, and when we have these guys individually tested, you know, you'll find out that they're behind a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we through the reading intervention, now these guys are reading at sophomore college level already.
Yeah.
And that's a big change. So that's more chance of them being successful in college, not just going to college and then coming right back. Because a lot of guys go to college, but they come right back because what you find out is that if you come from a Detroit public school or any inner city school, you are going to graduate with an 8th grade education at best. Mm-hmm. If you come from any surrounding suburb, you are going to graduate with a college education, a first-year college education. You're going to go to college, you're going to thrive, and you're going to be successful. When you come from Detroit or any inner city, you're going to come with that 8th grade education, and you're not going to make it. You're going to have a bill, and you're going to come back home. So we push our kids to the highest level, the highest degree. We don't cut no corners. We don't try to water it down. We just give them the hardest stuff, but we give them the foundation to go with it too. Mm-hmm. So we got the reading intervention. You know, how you going to do some work if you can't read? You can't even do your math if you can't read, if you're not reading at that level. So we make sure reading intervention is important. Math intervention is important. We do math. We go back to the basics. We start at the basics, and we work it organically back up to you up at grade level or beyond.
Right.
And so we got like a lot of STEAM. We got a STEAM lab. We got computer stuff going on. They work on computer programming all the time. They do it. They write their own codes now.
What?
Yeah, you got guys writing their own code.
I can't wrap my mind around that. I can't even.
We got about 4 kids that do coding right now already.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's really, really sick.
Music. We even got music theory classes. So
music theory.
Yeah,
that's a whole different. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So these are all actual like skill sets that like propel them. So you've been doing it for 13 years. You got to have some success stories of kids that went through your program now that are coming back and being like, man, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
That's got to be the best part.
Yeah, and they come back all the time bragging.
Yeah.
Yeah, they be like, man, I made it, man, coach. And they be like, man, listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Like, no, listen to that guy.
Yeah, right.
Don't even listen to me no more. Listen to him.
If I knew how to code in high school, right? Like,
man,
I would probably save so much money in college classes that were just like no direction.
I mean, coding is just like I mean, I don't know how to do it, but it's like that's where everything's going, right? I mean, the kids' games now, they got like code games, like they learn how to code it, like baby. It's pretty wild, the whole coding thing. So you just so you started this thing. in Detroit, and all of a sudden it started blowing up. And now, like, all of a sudden you're getting a lot of attention, right? CNN did a thing on you for the hero thing, right? Now, and you just got back from overseas, where now they're looking at your program and saying, well, how can we use this in our areas, right? Talk to me about that trip that you just had, because it sounds like it was pretty interesting.
It was a trip where we just was exchanging information with different organizations, and we just basically checking out their organization, talking to them about our organizations. We just exchanging ideas and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool.
Do they have the same challenges overseas?
You know what?
Where is overseas?
Germany,
Spain.
Yeah.
And I don't think they had the same exact problems.
Right.
But it's still a neighborhood thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of hard to explain because
ours is more systematic.
No, over there they have a lot of support from the city, the government,
a lot of
state
it's
level. It's like they don't pay like fees for their gyms. Like, you know, if they do pay a fee, it's like $5.
It's like state run.
Yeah, it's like state run. Everything is state run over there.
Yep.
And everybody participates in it. And it's also in the schools. So it's not like it's taken out of the schools. It's actually in the schools. It's like, and they even have the coaches to go there and help at the schools.
Yeah.
The coaches that you see in a after school program, you might see that same coach at the school. He's that connected to that organization. Their whole neighborhoods their whole blocks, everybody is connected.
Our school system's pretty wild. My wife actually works for Wayne Reza. Like, she goes down to the inner city. She's at like Malcolm X today. Like, she helps teachers figure out how to be better teachers. But like what I think is crazy about our school system, I think it's kind of broken. And I tell my wife, her profession is just
very
crazy,
broken,
super broken. Because like the funding isn't equal across the board. You know what I mean? That is just not like let's say in Canada, my wife's Canadian. Like, all schools get the same funding.
Yeah,
it don't matter where it's at. Doesn't matter like what it is. They all get the same funding. But in the States, it's so backwards where, you know, like if you go to a Birmingham school, they have way more funding than an inner city Detroit school.
Yes.
I mean, the things that she tells me that she's dealing with in the inner city right now, I mean, it's pretty wild. The schools are really, really bad right now. And I don't want to disparage the school system. Everybody's trying really hard. Don't get me wrong. Like, they're all doing whatever they can with what they got, but they don't have that much to work with.
Look at the property taxes.
They're high, though, bro. They're paying a lot in property taxes in Detroit. They're not cheap.
Of the tax base that pays it.
So I can give you an example. My son, he was having trouble in Detroit public schools. He was having a problem for a minute, and so I took him to a school in West Utica.
Yeah, that's where I went to school.
Yeah, I took him to school in West Utica. This is supposed to be like the hardest school in the district or whatever, and my son went there, and his next card marking he had straight B's, not straight B's, but close to it.
Yeah.
And then the next card marking he had he was like an honor student. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, what happened? So I asked him, I said, son, like, how did you make this miraculous change from a straight F student to an honor student in a couple card markers? How did that happen?
Yeah.
He said, Dad, he was with excitement in his eyes and in his voice. He's like, Dad, they got everything there. They got this, they have that. They have computers, they have laptops, they have a person. He said, man, I like going to school here. He was like, I like it.
That's a big difference, man.
He said it was just the whole environment. The vibe was totally different. He was like, and he said when I couldn't keep up right here, it was a lady in the back of the class. She helped me when I couldn't keep up. And then when I couldn't keep up here, it was a lady I met in the hallway, and she helped me. They set it up for me to succeed.
Yeah. It's a totally different world.
Yeah, and I'm like, you don't have that in Detroit? He's like, no. I'm like, man, where you going back, man?
Yeah, right.
Because we can't afford to rent out here.
But honestly, like, it's so screwed up in my opinion, because it's like, and it's not the teacher's fault. It's not administrative. There's just not the funding. They don't have the resources. And even look, my wife was even a teacher in Walled Lake. They didn't even have the resources that they needed, right? The funding for our school system, especially in Michigan, I just think it's crazy. And that's why I think your program, obviously, it fills a really big void. But ultimately, it's a little bit of a failure on us as a society not making a focus, right, of our school systems.
That's what I said about it's systematic here, not overseas, because it's systematically it's systematic oppression, right? So like inner city schools, people are usually forced to live there. They're lower incomes. There's more people there that are in that lower economic status.
But all those people still want to have good schools and good
yes,
families. And
but
stuff,
they
right?
don't, right? So the system pushes them down, so they get less funding, which inhibits their success, right?
100%, yeah.
And then replicates that cycle. Where the rare case that does make it out, they don't want to send their kids back there because they know that they have a higher likelihood of success going somewhere else like Birmingham. So the successful students go to places like Birmingham and they get more and more funding. And places like Detroit, where they really need it, get less and less and less because the system just keeps repeating itself.
That's why the system's broken, man.
It's broken.
So I mean, we're not going to fix that today.
What I was saying about overseas was like like you said in Canada, like all those gyms were like funded, like they were funded
by the state.
Yeah, they were funded, and I'm like, if one kid made it, the whole neighborhood made it, and then if he made it to a college level team, what they call university over there, you know, they whole neighborhood. If you look, they all wear the same jerseys. It's like the whole community is on one team. Yeah. And so here is if you make it here, it's like, man, I struggled on my own. I'm here on my own. So you get that one mentality of my own. So now you might get a guy who becomes a celebrity, a celebrity athlete, and he may not necessarily go back to the community.
No, he's out.
Almost never.
Yeah, but over there, like these guys are like with the people, running around with the people. You know what I mean? Like. It's like the whole team is professional now. The whole neighborhood is a professional.
Yeah, they wear them on the back, right? They're like proud of that.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Yeah, it's the different mentality. Just like you said, in our world, someone gets out, they're out. They're like, I made it, I'm out. I'm not going back. I'm not. There's nothing for me there, right? They just see like whatever it is, but. We're not actually going to fix our school systems on this show. It's just not going to happen. But everybody's trying, man. It is a lot of stuff like this, like programs like this that are necessary to fill that void, especially in these kids' lives, man. These kids want direction. They need leadership, and it's a big step. So talk to me about the business side of it. So like obviously you've had adversity going through this, right? It wasn't like the last 13 years weren't just like peachy, right? You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just easy the whole time, right? It's probably hard right now.
So I went from making $30 an hour at my job. To me, for a guy with no education to make $30 an hour, I mean, that's top of the world. That's top of the food chain in my mind.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I went from nothing to that because I left the streets and I just cold turkey left the streets, went and got a job, went back to school. So that means I was cleaning toilets. I went from cleaning toilets to working construction. I went from working construction to having construction and a security guard job. So I was making a decent living and I just quit cold turkey.
All of it.
I just quit cold turkey again. And I started this youth program, so I thought I had enough money saved, and I thought people would jump on board immediately. Right. They would see the work that I was doing. People would jump on board.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Right.
And so in the process of that, I ended up homeless. So I ended up homeless for about 2 years. I was living in my car. I went from 218 solid muscle down to about 140, 150 pounds maybe. I was skinny as heck, you know.
What year was this?
I can't remember. It was
a long time ago.
Yeah. So. And one of the parents, I never forget. One of the parents, him and his wife, Coach Monty King, and his wife, Trina King, they were like, come to my house. Went over there and they fed me some food and stuff, and then they would bring me food. And a couple parents, they used to just bring me food and stuff.
And during this time, you were still running the gym.
Still running the gym, yeah. Any dime that I would get, I would put into the gym. We were running the gym off a generator, because the lights and gas had got cut off, so we put a generator. Well, I did. I put a generator. I put a generator behind the building and ran some wires through there. And I was hoping nobody knew it, but they knew that it wasn't working like that. And some of the kids were like, "Coach, I saw you sleeping in a car outside. I saw you sleep." Bro. And so I started trying to hide my car, and then the car got stolen because I had to leave it because it didn't have gas, and so somebody stole it.
Stole your car?
Yeah. So
at that time, which was your house?
Yeah. It had all my clothes in it. So then I started living inside the gym.
What?
So the gym with no heat in it, so it used to be freezing. It was crazy,
but that's how passionate you were.
Yeah, I mean, once you're on a mission, and you figure out what's your path and what's your love. So I say, a man without purpose is a man that's lost. Because at one point in time, I didn't have a purpose in life. And when I started working with these kids, and I started seeing them be successful, and I started seeing them graduate from school on time, and I started seeing all that type of stuff, and I'm like, man, I love this. I couldn't get enough of it. I'm like, man, I need to be here every day, no matter what it takes. I'm like, I wasted 20 years of my life, man. I don't want to see another kid go down that path that I went down. So I committed myself wholeheartedly to it, and that's what happened. I just did it.
You know what's wild about that is you weren't doing it for notoriety.
Everything about it is
wild. It's wild, man. It's crazy. But like you weren't doing it for notoriety. You weren't doing it like to be the man. You were literally like, because a lot of what we do sometimes is ego. You know what I'm saying? Like we want to be successful because we want to impress my wife or my kids, right? Whatever it is, right? A lot of it's like it's ego, but this is like devoid of all ego. You were just literally doing it because this is your passion.
I mean, that's the only way to do it. So before we hire anybody, it's a process. I got, there's no corporate ladder to climb here. I'm at the top of the ladder. There's no corporate ladder. You're not climbing the corporate ladder. So why are you here?
Yeah.
Because if you get a child to open up to you, and then this is a passing phase, and you go, that kid may not open up to anybody else ever again. Because there's kids that I can't reach. I could tell them my story all day long, but they don't relate to it.
Yeah.
But there might be a person that walked through that door that's a volunteer that can change that child's life. And so if you change a kid's life, and then you up tomorrow, like, oh, this big opportunity, and I'm gone, then that kid shuts back down. And next you know, because I've seen it happen. I've seen kids who open up to somebody and that person just disappear. And I've seen that kid spiral out of control.
Right.
That's a heartbreaking thing for me. I can't see it, because I know what that leads to. I've seen it happen 1,000 times.
So there's a lot of people listening right now that probably have teams and lead people. Like, tell me some of the challenges you have, because you are a leader. Ultimately, people look at you as a leader, like you're their mentor, whatever it may be. And, everybody's got the same challenges communicating or trying to get their message across to people. So what do you do to kind of get that message through them? Because a lot of people sometimes don't listen until you get to them somehow.
You talking about the message about
just like in general, right? Like, okay, you got your group, right? Everybody's there. But then you might have like some people on the side, like, man, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Or like, man, what? I'm just gonna do this, right?
So for me, I just give my testimony. I give my testimony. I give it to you as raw as possible. You know what I mean? I try not to hold nothing back. There's like, I have no, I don't have that ego type thing. I don't have it. You know what I mean? So people say like, why would you tell somebody that you couldn't read or write? Because like, I would never tell nobody that I couldn't read or write. I say, well, you the type of guy that would see a guy about to fall in a hole and not stop him.
Yeah.
See, I see a lot of guys going down the same hole that I went down. So why would I hold that inside and not tell you, listen, man, I've been down that road. I couldn't read the menu. You understand? I couldn't read a job application. I couldn't do any of that type of stuff, man. Don't go down that path. Don't waste your life away. If you need help, ask for it. And so I'll give my testimony anywhere I can. And so if I'm talking to a group of people, whatever it may be about, I'm going to tell you from my point of view the truth, and my struggles with it. And if you accept it, you accept it. If you don't, you don't. It's somebody else in the room that might be encouraged to step up and say what's on their heart or what's on their mind, and it might inspire you. So by me being honest and he being honest or him being honest, somebody might inspire you. It might not always just be me. Mm-hmm. It just might be somebody in the room. Just create that culture of being honest.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people, whether it's personal or in business, or I know in our business for sure, it's people are intimidated by the person they should be asking advice for, right? And maybe that leader isn't a true leader by the way that they're, carrying themselves or whatever, but people who don't ask for help are going to fail, right?
A good leader sometimes know when to be quiet. Sometimes a good leader know when it's time to be quiet and just listen to your team. So I would just ask the guy, hey, what would you do in this situation? Because if he's not stepping up or saying anything, he might have a bunch of stuff that might be the key to the problem. But it might be something simple as asking, hey, Tom, what would you do in this situation? I'm curious. And if he start opening his mouth and start talking, man, a wealth of information might come out of his mouth.
Giving him a voice.
Just giving him a voice. Just giving him an opportunity to speak, not being always at the forefront talking. You know what I mean?
You can't.
You don't know all the answers because I know I don't.
Yeah, that's smart because honestly, like the spitting rhetoric sometimes, when you start talking at people, you got to have like involvement, right? You got to all be working together. What like, Callie, what's like your goal, right? Like you've gotten to a point now where you're getting recognition. The gym is doing fairly well, right? I mean, there's obviously, we'll talk some more about like what the gym needs, but like, what is your ultimate goal? Is it just continue on this path and create and keep creating, or do you have an ultimate goal of something you want to accomplish?
Global.
Yeah, you want to go? Yeah,
I want to go global. Like right now, like our gym is like it's a mixture of people. All different races, all different ages, families coming together. We creating a culture of acceptance and everybody listening to each other. We exchanging ideas, and it's like I always call the gym like the United Nations. It's like so many different people there, and we just exchanging ideas. I mean, we even listen to the little kids. You know what I mean? Everybody has a voice in there, and I would love to see that spread where we just sit down and talk, even if we don't agree. Let's just sit down and talk. So my thing is like, education is at the forefront for me. Educating our community, educating the people, and getting everybody back to knowing that it's a community. Like they said, you were on CNN Heroes. A hero is if he could do it by himself. I'm not a hero. Even if I would have won the thing, I'm not a hero. because it took our whole community to get to that point that you even recognized us. And I recognized every single person who contributed. And I mean, you know, I really, you know, thank them from the bottom of my heart, because I couldn't have did it by myself. I said I tried that by myself, and I was homeless. I ended up homeless trying it by myself. But when I opened my heart and opened my mind, and opened that space for other people to come in, it was a wonderful thing. People from the city, the suburbs, you know, from you know, people who just had $5 to donate to the process. You know what I'm saying? And that's I want to continue that right there. You know, just getting everybody involved and understanding that we one human race. That's it. We one people. We one community. It's not 50 other communities. We all one community. So I just want to see that build and grow.
That's awesome. And Brian, I mean, I know you're working hard. You know, obviously, I've seen your Facebook where you're trying to raise money. How's the financing for the whole thing? How's that going? You know what I mean? Like, how obviously a cause like this needs because realistically, it costs money to do this. It's not free, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this stuff is not free. Like you got to really do this. Well, we want to have funding for it. So talk to me about that side of it.
I mean, it's $2,000 a year to put a kid through the program, right? And
per kid.
And that's probably light
per kid.
You know, per
right.
kid. And Callie said it. We've got 900 kids in line wanting help, right? Wanting to come in, and so, you know, there's been some success raising money, some corporate money, some grant money. There's some infrastructure going on to kind of help the building, but it takes everybody. I mean, you know, I'm hoping that folks that are listening and watching today are inspired to go check out the website, check out some of the stories. You can see videos of the kids, and again, just, you know, $5, right? $5 across the community helps, and if we can get one more kid off that waiting list in the gym, that's a win for us.
You know, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that they don't need to give $1,000, or they don't need to give. I mean, you give $5 and you get 1,000 people that gives $5. That's way stronger than one person giving 1,000, right? Because now you get people involved and spreading the message too.
Well, it's easy. You know, like you said, you have to spread the message. So you give $5. Hey, man, you got $5 that you can give to this, as opposed to like, all right, I'm gonna give 500 and just keep my mouth shut, right? That's kind of
my little Facebook group. You know, we've got 100 or so people that have donated, but I asked them, now share. There's that little button there. Hit share and kind of tell why you're inspired, why you were inspired to give $20 or $25 or $250, whatever it was.
Well, someone, you know, it's crazy that, you know, someone will post something online for a GoFundMe that gets thousands of dollars overnight.
It's like, for some stupid stuff, man. It's like, it's
so
like,
so you know, I need a supercharger for my car.
I mean,
it's going to cost $3,000, right? And then all of a sudden,
that's on the internet.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
That's stupid stuff.
GoFundMe will brings out the best and the worst.
Help me divorce my husband. Like people pay like crazy stuff, bro. Like. But
I'm not online much, but
no, yeah, man.
Stay away from that.
Stay away from that, man. So I mean, in the world that we live in, that's like, I believe we live in a world of abundance, right? We have so much, and then there's still so much need on the other side of it that we forget that, like, you know, we have an abundance. If you have an abundance of anything, you should give back on some level, right? Even if it's your time,
right?
Even if it's like spreading the message, you don't necessarily have. Even if you don't have $1, if you spread the message, that's as strong, right?
Yeah, I'm all about, like, if you a professional, if you come down and talk to kids and get them interested in your profession, I mean, that can go a long way.
Yeah,
you know, like. Our kids did mock trials at the federal courthouse. You know, I got kids now that want to be.
That's awesome.
I got kids now that want to be lawyers. Like, you know, and
it opened up their mind in that aspect, right?
And to me, like, we talk about how valuable our time is all the time, right? Time is the most valuable thing that you can give. So, like, yeah, if maybe you can't give your time up because you're super, super busy, but donate some money. But if you are really touched by this, give some money, but also go above and beyond. Give your time, because that's the most valuable thing that you can give up.
I think about all the money that people give for different. I mean, a lot of people give, right, to different, and then it's always like, well, where do I put my money, right? I find it hard pressed to want to give to something. I mean, you should give always, but like something that's actually in your backyard that's making a real difference in your community or near your community, even if you're from the suburb, whatever it is. This is something that's happening in our backyard that we should, like, rally behind. Because ultimately, like, in my mind, like, you should have a bunch of these, right? It shouldn't just be one gym, right? Maybe you get one in Cleveland, right? I mean, do you have thoughts about going to different states?
Yeah, I said global.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. I get it.
About states.
I know.
You talking states? I'm talking global, man.
All right.
I want to be on. I want to be on the moon next.
All right.
When they go back 2025, I want to go too.
And
Mars.
it is crazy because each individual has their story, and you never know by some kid who started in this program, right? Instead of spiraling out of control, becomes a doctor and cures some crazy disease one day, or
Yeah.
someone engineers a place.
I'm gonna tell you right now, the wealthiest place on earth is a cemetery. That's where all your ideas are. The cure to cancer is probably in a cemetery.
That's a pretty wild idea.
Yeah, it is. That's the wealthiest place on earth.
That's wild. I mean, yeah, dude, it's wild. So we do this thing, Callie. We do 3 questions so we just ask random questions. So we're gonna ask you 3 random questions. They're
2 random questions.
Well, one's always the same. The first one's always the same. The first one is always, what scares you? What scares Callie Sweeney?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Talk to me about that. How do you?
This is the first time
nobody's ever
said
that. But so walk me through why you have no fear.
Like I said earlier, I've been through a lot in my life. I've been shot at. You know what I'm saying? I've been shot. I've seen a lot of horrible things, but to all of that is like, coming from where I come from, that's something that you see on a regular basis, being shot, people, all that type of stuff dying. But
which is wild.
But the hardest thing in the world for me, and I finally conquered it, was to tell people that I couldn't read.
Mm-hmm.
That was my only fear. I wasn't scared of death. I was waiting to get shot. The neighborhood, they was telling me since I was a kid I was gonna be dead in jail before I was 21. So I started lifting weights, I started doing push-ups, I started doing everything, saying, what's taking so long for me to go to jail? Then I started saying, what's taking so long for me to get shot? Then when I finally got shot, I was like, okay, all right, I got that accomplished. What's taking so long for me to go to jail now?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So that never came either. So I'm like, okay, forget it. You know what I mean? So what was my greatest fear? My greatest fear was not being able to read, and I was holding that big secret in my heart so long. So once I got over that, I was like, man, nothing scares me at this point. I've been homeless, man. What scares me at this point?
Right.
So I thought, listening to your story, I thought you were for sure going to say letting a kid down would be your fear.
I'm not going to let a kid down. I'm going to keep pushing.
It's not
like
an
it.
option.
Failure is not an option for me.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's awesome. So, all right, next question would be 50 years from now, Callie Sweeney's gone, but, what do you want your legacy to be? Like, who do you want, like, when someone says your name and when you're gone, what do you want them to think about when they think about you?
That I did my best.
That's it.
That I did my best.
That's not bad. That's a pretty good answer, actually. He did his best, right? All right, last one.
That's all you can ask someone, really.
Yeah, do your best, bro. Yeah. Last question, and we've asked this before, but I think we'll leave it. If you could be one animal in the animal kingdom, what would it be and why?
I was hoping you would go with this one.
Yeah.
I was really curious.
Yeah. Come on, bro. You got to have something.
I mean,
Anything at all.
I mean, it could be an elephant,
Alpaca,
a penguin, with a sombrero.
Where'd you get this question?
I'm telling you, it's random. The computer got it. I don't know, bro. It just came out of thin air.
Let me think, man. I don't know.
I mean, one animal.
One animal?
Yeah, you can be one animal in the animal kingdom. You could be like a fish.
a gopher.
You could be like a gopher, bro.
Why would I be a gopher?
I don't know.
Why would he be a gopher?
Different strokes for different folks.
Is that what you would do?
Absolutely not.
All right.
I don't know, man.
You don't even know. You just like being you.
I just like being me.
All right. He's deferring the question. We've never had this.
I like that.
I like that too.
I think
He's
his answer is human. He'd be
human. Yeah. He likes what he's doing. All right. Well, I definitely want the audience to know how to get a hold of you guys, how they can donate, how they can be part of this. What do we got? What are we doing?
Oh, we need Robin for this.
Oh, Robin, get in here. So Robin's been just hanging out, taking pictures, like creeping the whole show. So Robin, tell the audience what the path is to be part of this or donate or any of that.
Well, the first place to go is downtownboxinggym.org. That's our website, and there's a spot on there where you can donate. There's a place to click to apply to be a volunteer, and lots of just great stories, information, and things like that.
If there's something, what are some of the needs that the gym needs right now? Other than funding, obviously that's numero uno. But what are some of the needs? Yeah, it's you. Right? He's pointing at you, Robin. I mean,
wow, lots of pressure.
He's pointing at you.
By the way, I haven't had headphones on in quite a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So just so everybody knows,
it's kind of freaking me out to hear my own voice.
Robin was a TV personality for a long time. I actually looked her up. It's in Detroit.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I hung up my microphone, and now I'm hearing my voice in my headphones. This is kind of freaking me out. The gym has a lot of needs. I mean, obviously the waiting list, wanting to bring in more students. In order to do that, you need more staff, and those types of resources. There are needs with the building. Right now, the roof is being repaired. We've had tons of rain. Every time it rains, we're mopping up in there. And colleagues.
So even like if someone out there's a contractor and they're willing to, instead of donating maybe money, they can donate their services, right? Stuff like that.
That's always needed. Furniture. You know, we always have needs for desks and chairs and things like that. Right now, we're sort of building out the library area.
Yeah.
And
how big is the space, by the way, guys? How big is the gym?
It's 27,500 square feet.
All right, so there's some good.
And
nailed it. Nailed it. She's like in 43 inches.
Thank God I studied. But you know, the thing that I think is cool about the building, it's a former bookbinding factory. So this is a factory that was dedicated to binding books, and now it's a place where learning is key.
Books before boxing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right?
And
that's kind of poetic.
The first time I heard that, I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Robin, how did you get involved, just real quick?
Well, after 23 years in TV news and a stint in corporate communications, I started my own PR firm in 2016.
Okay.
So I do PR and video production for a lot of businesses and nonprofits in Metro Detroit. Wonderful man who is a mentor and a friend to the downtown boxing gym, Stephen Luigi Piazza.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know him well.
Unfortunately, passed away.
He was a great human. Really good human.
I knew
the
him.
best.
Yeah, really good dude, man.
We love him.
Yeah, he touched a lot of people's lives, actually.
Yeah.
I knew him through my corporate communications work, and he knew that the boxing gym had some storytelling needs, and so he connected me to them, and the rest is history. Right, Kali?
The rest is history.
I mean,
anyway, I got to tell you one funny thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
First time I ever met Kali, like we had never even met face to face. I ran into the boxing gym with a microphone and tried to clip it on his shirt. I was like, "Here, clip on this microphone because we're filming something, we're recording something." He was like, "Who are you?
Why are you touching me?
Why are you putting that mic on my shirt?" And that's how we met.
That's awesome. And ever since then, you've been involved. And that's awesome. That's all. Kali, I feel like you do have a lot of good people around you right now. They're really that's what it feels like right now.
The team that we have and the supporters that we have, they the best in the world as far as I'm concerned. Like, you know, to step up to the plate like so many people have, so many different organizations, corporate, just to the regular guy on the street. I'm proud to be a Detroiter right now. I'm loving the whole vibe, just everybody coming together, breaking down some of those old walls and just everybody embracing each other just in a major way. I'm loving it right now.
You're feeling a lot of love.
Oh, no, I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Brian, and one more time, what's your Facebook if they want to donate?
So you can go to Brian View, VIEAUX.
We got a lot of. It's not VIEW.
You're gonna get a lot of friends.
Yeah,
a lot of new friends.
Yeah. So I set a goal to raise $15,000. We're about 65% of the way there. So we got a big push here, and we're going to hit it and probably go through that. So hit me up on Facebook, and you can throw a few bucks our way. Actually, last time I was on the show, the first time, the only time, we ended up Jazz,
the best time. Jazz,
who now volunteers. He heard your show, and it was kind of motivated to learn about the gym, and now he volunteers every Monday helping the kids out. So
that's awesome.
So you can help. If you've got skills to help kids from an education mentoring perspective. Always looking for great people to help us there too.
Yeah, guys. In a world, were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say. If you know how to put up a hockey rink, we just purchased a hockey rink and tennis court, like a multi-use court. So we need somebody to help us put that up. If you know how to do that,
like the walls.
No, I don't.
It's the floor.
We have to level the ground and stuff like that first.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
that'd be cool.
Guys, anybody that's listening,
I want to play hockey. I want to try it.
I can't play hockey. I can't skate and like do that so I then get hit. I'm not built for that. I'm not built for that.
I can't see Paul playing hockey.
No,
You'd be
I'm
like
not
a
hockey
forward,
player. I played tennis.
Forward, though.
I played tennis. So guys, obviously, thank you so much. This is for a show that we do real estate. We talk about stuff that matters, but it's not as important in the grand scheme of things. It's really good to have like a really good story where like gives you a better perspective of life.
sure.
So I appreciate all of you being on the show. I know you're taking time out of your lives, and we want to support. So anybody out there that's listening, support this cause. It's a really good cause. If you need any direction on where to go, call me, call the show. Let us know what you want to do. Anybody can help. I mean, every little bit helps, period.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
Yep.
So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Sal might need your PR firm services. He's
I don't think so.
all right, Jessica, thank you so much for always being here and helping us out with the show.
My pleasure.
Yeah, we didn't talk to you much today. Sorry.
That's okay.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week.